treaty. Links in the description if you're watching this on some sort of YouTube channel. We do have British versus Iroquois spawning in the north of the map. But currently, here I am. I don't have to delete things here. I'm spawning on top of a mountain by the looks of it. And so are you. Are you going to delete them anyway?
I mean, it can still kind of alter the fight. Like if a mortar like accidentally targets the
I
GC,
see.
but
That's fair.
don't delete it until like after the boom, because otherwise they get like a huge XP boost. So probably just leave it.
Oh, that makes sense, right? Because the town center dying early on is probably not.
It like they get their first shipment at like 1 minute in, so like wait until like 20 minutes into the match before deleting it.
Okay, so for anyone just tuning in or wondering why these town centers are there, they are important because they interact with the radius where you cannot construct buildings. That is my understanding of it. So we must keep our town centers alive until later on in the game. So I'm quite excited to see an actual treaty game with this time my UI installed. So I'm going to be able to keep track of the shipments that they're sending. I'm going to change this to shipment sent here, and we'll put this one on text being researched, because I think we'll assume that only villages will be being queued for the time being. The map is Andes, spawning on the left-hand side of the map. In the color blue, we do have Gimmicks playing as British, starting with a market there. Mostly everyone on food, with a couple on wood. I'm sure that's get hunting dogs, among other upgrades. I'm going to put Control Shift F. Yes, I remember that's how that works. Let's take a look at the line of sight there. He's so far gotten the, well, it's 40 XP. He's gone for that, and not much else. He's chosen not to pick up that one treasure he's walked across by the looks of it. 75 wood. Wow, that's not a bad treasure, isn't it? Why is he foregoing that in favor of searching onwards for more
I don't
things?
know. The only thing I can think of is maybe he didn't notice it, because that's really good for...
Oh, he's heading right back now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, you're right. He didn't. I think he just didn't realize it was there, and now he's like, "Oh, I'm going for that 75 wood. That's going to be quite valuable, I would imagine." Looks like Gangsaw is now just coming in for Gimmicks. Mitoe, let's introduce him. Here he is in the south of the map, in the color teal, cyan, light blue. Maybe none of those, but here he is, just getting, by the looks of it, Great Feast in, which is researched at the. Looks like we've got ranching in as well. Great Feast, to my understanding, that is a... What does that affect? It's all food gathering, is it?
Are you talking about the first farm upgrade?
Yeah.
Yeah. It affects hunting. Yeah.
Okay.
As well as mill.
I remember back in the day, people would use their travois in Supremacy to build a farm. Partly because you get a lot of XP from it, because it's a 400 wood building, and that's always valuable. But so also, that Great Feast upgrade is a hunting upgrade as well, or a food upgrade generally.
Yeah, it's like a second hunting dogs.
So I guess in Treaty, where you can spend a bit more time in Age 1, that's obviously going to be viable. Both players going for ranching. Can you explain to perhaps some viewers that might not know what that is, if this ends up...
Yeah, it lets them train cows, which fatten more quickly and are just way more efficient than sheep. Because cows you pay 80 food and get 500, and sheep you pay 100 and get 300.
Oh wow, the maths on that's crazy. Really?
Yeah.
So it just enables you to train cows, which happen to be cheaper and also fatten to a higher rate.
Yeah.
What is the fattening rate like? That doesn't affect the rate at which they fatten. It's just that you can now build cows, right?
Yeah, it's just that you can now build cows, and but up next they'll send codes that increase the rate of fattening.
Sure. Of course he's going to stack that with other things. But can you just? This is just an interesting question I had on my mind. But does the cow fatten at the same rate as a sheep? So to speak, the food per second that it gets. Is the same, or do they fatten at like the same percentage rate? So overall, the cow would be better.
No, you would have to like ask Lucas or something.
Okay, it's just one of those small itty bitty, not perhaps particularly important questions. You have a squeaky chair. That's
yeah,
reminds
I do.
me
I'm sorry.
I don't know, not to worry. It just reminds me of one of the chairs I used to sit on.
I need a new chair. This chair is actually falling apart. Like.
Perhaps you'll be investing in a new chair. Looks like he's going for 135 coin here. So how valuable? Oh, that's like settler treasures must be insanely good in Treaty. That's got to be crazy.
We actually removed settler treasures from the new treaty maps because they're so good. Like having an extra village
Yeah.
Like walling
I,
off a settler treasure, training to 99 vills, and then taking that settler treasure to have 100 vills is pretty good.
oh, really? Is that how it was used? So that you could have an extra
Yeah,
vill on top
if
of?
it's within the building radius, I would always wall settler treasures.
Yeah. Okay. What? But I'd have thought that getting the villager sooner would be better because then you would be able to age up sooner. You generate more
Honestly,
XP because you have more resources. You just get everything done quicker. You get to the Imperial Age quicker. You get those texts that you get from the capital quicker. Why not get it straight away? Just the maths, just the calculus, just not work out. It's just better to get it late game. That
um, I never did the math on it. It's just that in treaty, like you always want to be thinking like long term, and
yeah. But
yeah,
I wonder if
if you don't lose any vills after 40, then that advantage lasts even longer.
see, yeah, that's fair. I guess once you've got all those texts, then it's really valuable. I was just sort of thinking about getting to the Imperial Age and getting those capital texts as
Yeah.
fast as possible. I wondered if that calculus worked out, but
Oh.
it's not important anyway. You cannot even get villagers on the
By the
treaty
way,
pact.
someone in the Twitch chat answered your question that sheep and cows fatten at the same percentage rates.
Okay, so cows are really good because
Yeah.
not only are they cheaper, have a higher food capacity, they also fatten more quickly in terms of food per second because 500 is a greater number than 300 if it's the same food
Yeah.
per second. Then, okay, cows are actually insane. Then that's pretty good. Mitoe, placer mines coming in, and for the gimmicks we do see. Oh, it looks like we also have a new tech: wool staple ports. Do you want to talk about stockyards and wool staple ports?
They just make the livestock fatten faster.
Both of them.
Yeah, sheep and cows.
All right then.
And
Okay.
llamas if you like get a llama treasure or something.
That's fine. Okay, so that looks like they're training a few cows. Like, how many do you want to make then? Because
As Brits, you want to max out on cows and then like start building manors, and as Euro, you want to make 10 cows and then age up. Like
Okay.
just fill up the farm and then age up.
it looks like they're just spending a whole bunch of time in Age 1
Use the
just
colonial
making.
travelers to build a second farm. Travois, sorry, my pronunciation's bad.
Oh, it doesn't matter too much. So it just looks like, obviously, British. What I would expect the British to do. So looking at gimmicks here is get 20 manors up, spam a bunch of villagers out as fast as you can, everyone on wood in that early portion, just with enough villagers on food to maintain that settler production. But that's not what he's doing. He's
Yeah,
not
this
built
is
really very
interesting.
manors at all. Just
I think
two.
I think he's gonna age up to 2, but age up to age 2, but he should really be building more manors instead. I think.
Yeah, but I thought instead of building manors, he's going for cows. Is that what he was doing? And then after building the cows, just getting the food to age up?
He's maxed out on cows and he's like still stacking food, so that makes me think he's gonna age up.
I see. But it's not
Yeah,
like...
he's on the way to age 2.
All right, so he's just clicked up, really. Whereas
Yeah.
Mitoe, now up to the next age here, he's got his travois out, and he's gonna... You say
That should
put
build
another
a second
down.
farm. That should build a second farm, and then he can make the next 10 cows.
I see. And of course, he'll eat these cows as soon as they're fattened to 500. Is that the
Yeah.
plan? All right, and that's going to give him a food boost to get up to Fortress or Industrial or whatever
Yeah,
else he needs to do.
Once he's in Fortress, you're supposed to build a fire pit and quickly go up to 99 fills.
Oh, I see. That's cool. And you use the food off the cows to sustain that and get all your
Yeah,
99 bills
exactly.
out. Hey, that's really cool. I like that. Okay, let's take a look at Kaiserklein again. I think that's interesting because a bunch of these villages on gold, not on wood. It looks like by the looks of it, obviously not going to be training military units. We all know that, but going to go up to the industrial age, or pardon me, the fortress age. Just getting the coin to do that by the looks of it. He's not focusing on wood at all. What do you make of this? Is that...
Yeah, I think his eco's really gonna hurt as a result of this because he's not building mana, so he's down like probably 10 or 15 vills right now compared to how many he would have if he was building manas.
Yeah, I see that, but there must be a reason. He's got something in mind. What do you think
Yeah.
it is?
Just to get to Fortress as quickly as possible.
Yeah, what has he got in the fortress age then? There has to
the
be a
TCs.
calculated reason. Like he's foregoing manas intentionally.
Yeah,
Tell us what you think
to get
he's gonna get.
I think to get the TCs faster.
Okay,
I think that's the only
and then
reason I can
obviously
think
train
of.
a bunch of vills there. Okay. Perhaps what he's thinking is, the town centers. He's losing time. He doesn't have those 3 town centers up, right? So the sooner you get those 3 town centers up, the sooner you can start training villagers. But the
Yeah.
manors, they only make one villager. And it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter when you build them. You're always going to get that one villager at some point, right? And at this early point in the game, there's not a lot of text, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So, so perhaps that's what he's thinking. I'm really interested because manors are such an integral part of the British civilization, and I can't really find a reason. I'm wondering what your insight was. You think it's for those town centers?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. You heard it here first, folks. All right, let's take a look at Mitoe. Looks like those cows are definitely, he's got, I think they're almost fully fattened now. Well, or he's eating them. He's eating them now. Wow, pardon me. There they are.
Yeah, and Kaiser should be using the food from the cows to get started on his sheep pens.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
You're
interesting as
you're
well.
supposed to do that like while you're aging to age 2 and like get started on the sheep pens.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that you could still train them. I guess.
Yeah.
What is there a build limit on cows, or is it?
Yeah,
just,
there's a 20 build limit on cows and a 30 build limit on sheep.
Okay. See what there is a build limit. The restriction is. All right. So it looks like he is going to start eating those foods now. All right, town center is going down. We have 2 town centers going down actually. Villagers can build them for the native civilizations. So that's what we have happening. He wants to get them up ASAP, get those villages flowing, and then I imagine once he's done that, we'll see a big shift to food or gathering up the remaining cows for the fire pit. Or does that happen a bit later on?
Looks like most of his cows have a while until they fatten again. So he's gonna have to like gather from hunts to be able to train vills.
Sec, please. All right then. He's checking his build order or something like that, perhaps. Let's take a look at the British player. So economic unit population 33 to 25. Let me ask you a question then. So, obviously, this is going to sound absolutely horrible to you, but is there any merit, or how much worse would putting something like 700 in wood in your deck be with the intention of doing basically what Kaiser did in Age 1, the blue player here, and then you go up to the next age, and then you build manors off the back of the 700 wood. Whilst everyone else is still on food and gold or whatever, and you're going to go up to the fortress age and get the town centers. Basically, the question I'm asking you is, why don't people? Because I know people don't do this. So why don't they? They don't include 700 and 600 wood for manors.
Are you ready? Yes.
Perhaps it's because the calculus just doesn't work out right. Like the long-term benefit of an upgrade is that just so much better. Like it's just way better in the long term than getting those early manors out and having that sort of eco boost. Sec. All right. I will see you shortly then, I suppose. I'll take it from here then. Looks like Mitoe, here he is now aging up to the, pardon me, that's his opponent. The blue player is going up to industrial. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Mitoe, he's got 2 shipments stacked up, and he's in the Fortress Age. So I'm going to take a look at his deck. He doesn't want to send anything here by the looks of it. So he must be waiting for an industrial age shipment instead for those 2 techs. I wonder what it is. Let's have a look at these things here. Can't be that. So he doesn't want to send siege combat, which is I was looking at the little pictures. Not that anyone can see them. See if I can find a shipment that would make sense. There's no industrial age shipment I can, unless he wants to send 1,200 wood. It's an infinite shipment. Perhaps that'll be what he'll send. Maybe he's just sent all of the eco upgrades. Yeah, he's sent ranching. He's sent. I don't know. We'll have to wait until Dictator's back. But that's what it must be for. There's an infinite 1,200 wood shipment as Iroquois that you can send. And he has 2 shipments stacked up. Or perhaps that's a more late game thing. Because I just don't see how that checks out. Surely the 1,200 wood shipment, the only reason that's in his deck is so that once he sent every single other shipment and somehow the game is still going on, then you start selling the wood. It's just something to get value out of in the late game. It's worth those villager seconds. So actually, I will change my conclusion. What I think he's saving his shipments for must be. I don't know.
Okay, I'm back.
What is he saving his shipments for? Mitoe has a shipment queued up, but he's
I'm
not
not sure.
sending it. Okay.
He has
perhaps he's
access to he has access to all his shipments. So.
Okay. At first, I thought he wanted to wait until he's in the industrial age and start sending those wood, but then I decided that you probably only send the wood once you've sent absolutely everything else, and there's nothing else to send.
Yeah.
Anyway, wait, did you hear my question about the 700 and 600
Yeah.
wood? Or...
Lucas explained that wood crates don't have any long-term effects, and you need the space and decks for like long-term upgrade codes.
Yeah, that's okay. That's sort of what I thought it was. So basically, that calculus is the absolute long-term, upgrade, eco upgrade or military upgrade is going to be way better in value than that early villager boost that might, yes, get you through the ages quicker and might, yes, get those capital upgrades quicker, but overall, that benefit is not as good as having another eco upgrade. And obviously, the wood shipments are taking up that space. Okay, so that appears to be the answer. Kaiserklein factory coming out as shipment number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine the second factory will be shipment number 6.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's going to have them tasked to resources, of course. He won't want to train any heavy cannons until, like we saw in the Blitz Treaty, until he's got all of the necessary upgrades, because wood is obviously still quite a premium resource that factories are able to gather quickly relative to villages.
Looks like Mitoe just noticed that Euros can make pens on the treaty patch. He built a pen there, but the livestock actually fatten faster on farms than they do on pens, so it's better to train them from farms.
Is there much difference in it? Is it really going to make a huge degree of difference?
I'm not sure. Lucas is the one who told me that.
Okay. Making sheep, but I'm lazy. All right. Well, he's not getting flamed by the casters, but he's preempting it. So I think what he's asking us to do is go and flame him. Can you talk about how bad this is and and how much of a disadvantage it's going to be? Just really lay it on thick.
He's getting the same age up as he would if he trained sheep, but like less food. Like his food production, his like livestock cycles are delayed now, but it doesn't make him age any faster.
I see. Okay, and by livestock cycles, you mean the time it takes to train and then let them fatten and then eat them up, and then you do it all over again and replace them. I see. All right. So it looks to me that Eurocivs have this big advantage in the sense they get 2 factories at about the 15-minute mark, or the 16-minute mark, whatever we're at. It looks like Mitoe does not have access, he hasn't got that flow of wood. I suppose, though, what he does have is a fire pit. Do you want to compare the two?
I mean, yeah, Eurocivs have the advantage of factories, but the native civs usually have something to make up for it. Like, Euros have the cowing fur trade eco, which is still really good despite not having factories. Aztecs have the infinite 1,000 coin shipment, and Sioux just have an insanely strong military to make up for it.
Okay. How did playing Sioux work before you had Treaty Patch and enabled them to build walls?
Well, you could not play them in 1v1 because they didn't have any ranged siege units, and in team games you would need to ask your teammate to mortar for you so that you can take out your opponent's walls.
Okay, so your allies would have to take that, take that responsibility, and would they have to build your walls as well?
Yeah, they had to build your walls as well.
I guess that's not
a good civ
so
to play
bad.
if you don't like your teammate.
That's kind of funny. How good was Sioux, relative to where does it sit on the power level? I'm thinking
it was really bad on the Uri patch, but it's really good on the Treaty patch. They received a lot of buffs.
Okay, can you quickly tell us a few of them before we get too off topic?
Well, so they have an imperial tech they can research where bisons spawn from their TCs, and that's an eco buff because Sioux villagers gather hunts way faster.
Oh, that's cool.
Set and bows function like arrow knights, so they have a ranged siege unit now. They don't have to have their
Sea
teammate
Tambos.
over. Yeah.
Really? Sea Tambos are like arrow nuts?
Yeah, they are.
That's... Oh, wow, that's brilliant.
Um,
Okay. Like, with the same crappy range. Like, obviously, arrow
No,
knights have
the
insane range.
Yeah, same range as Arrow Knights basically.
Oh, so they're just arrow... Like, Sea Tambos are effectively, as we know, a Sea Tambo and Supremacy have been removed and replaced with the
Yeah.
effects of a Skull Knight.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So, I guess they have Wakina rifles, so you'd never really make a Sea Tambo anyway.
Yeah, not in RE.
Yeah. Of course, like, Sea Tambo in Treaty is kind of... It's a redundant unit. You'd never train it. You'd only ever make Wakina. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So it was okay to change it to a completely new effect. I understand. Looks like we've got some sheeps fattening up here. He's gathering an absolute crazy amount of wood, Mitoe. God, look at those numbers fly up. He's got 60 villagers on wood. What does he want all this wood for? Is that to lay down plantations and stuff?
And I assume it would be like he's waiting for his food upgrades, but I think he already has them. Like he's already sent all the milk cards.
Oh, okay. So he had them on wood whilst perhaps I don't know. Maybe he's leaving them on wood for the time being, whilst just to get the set amount he needs for some upgrades in the Imperial Age. And then instead of like moving them off wood to something else and then moving them all back to wood again, just get that wood now, right? Is that perhaps something?
Maybe.
Reducing walking time. Perhaps that's on his mind there. Basically, we've been seeing a flow of upgrades coming in. Green corn ceremony. Is that that's the farm upgrade, isn't it? Or plantation, perhaps? What would I know? Sounds like a food upgrade to me. Can I delete my town center now?
Yeah, you can. And green corn ceremony is a mill upgrade, so I think he is waiting for his mill upgrades, and that's why he has so many on wood. Because wood is fully upgraded. His wood is like as fully upgraded as possible without Imperial upgrades, but his food isn't.
So he's just gathering wood because he's waiting for the food to come through, and he doesn't really want to move them. Although, would you still describe this as he'd rather have them on food? Do you think he ought to have gotten the food upgrades sooner? Because this is delaying his Imperial Age, right?
Well, his Imperial he was already on the way to Imperial. I think.
Okay. Well, there it is. Is that a good time to be up at? 20 minutes?
No, it's kind of slow.
Okay, how much? So let's give Mitoe an imaginary couple of minutes handicap because he's do you think it's good for Mitoe?
For his first try a 0, it's good.
Yeah. What would you get? Do you know if you played optimally?
Only 18 minutes 30 seconds.
Okay, so that minute and a half's a big deal.
Yeah, he was like 2 minutes past that. So,
right. I guess really what he's missing out on is a minute 30 of gather time on full upgraded mills and stuff. Is what you can translate that to.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, is kind of a big deal in a game where your sole purpose for winning is to have the most efficient eco possible, and then you can sometimes just storm your opponent's base and somehow overwhelm them beforehand. But perhaps at a top level, the overwhelming majority of games are going to be decided by how efficient your unit combat is and making sure you've got the right counters and not wasting units. And obviously, it all comes down to the eco you have. So that minute 30 important.
Yeah.
Okay, deforestation coming in now for Mitoe, which is the capital wood upgrade, and large-scale gathering. Is that the capital food upgrade?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. Relative economic unit population 119 to 109. So basically, what we're looking at here is I think they've both maxed out their villages. I think I'm correct in saying that. And now what we're looking at is these two factories providing 10 extra villages over Mitoe.
Yeah, it's like that's why I'm not really a fan of the recalculated for treaty. Like the cowing, like how much eco that adds isn't really taken into account.
Okay, so that's fair. Like this number was built for supremacy, where people rarely use cows, and if they did use cows, the casters would see them and say, "Oh, he's going to get a big food boost," and you'd account for it that way. Whereas in treaty, the cows should be sort of built into that recalculated economic unit population.
Yeah, I guess.
So perhaps the best, I should turn this off really and ignore it. The best thing we're looking to compare ecos is it just raw score?
Yeah, raw score, and just looking at how many resources they have. Okay,
yeah, that's fair. It'd be nice to get like a counter that just adds them all together or something like that, or converts them into villager seconds and then adds all the villager second numbers together. That would be perhaps the best
Sounds pretty difficult for not much of a reward. Like,
Okay,
you
that's
can still
true.
get a good idea of their eco just by looking at the population and the score and resources.
You're right. I just like the idea of, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we've got 16 minutes remaining. Both players up to the Imperial Age. So what's on the agenda now? Because it looks like they've got all the wood they would need for all of the plantations and mills. They've maxed out their villages. So what's on the agenda? I feel like the eco part is over, and now they need to focus on preparing for when the treaty timer expires.
Yeah, next 16 minutes are just like building a base, building walls, and making a start army, and
Okay.
that's not enough. That's actually not enough to fill the whole 16 minutes. Like, a lot of times people will go AFK for a little bit during the boom.
Okay, but I think Mitoe will appreciate the extra time.
Yeah, because he's new. And because they're both playing cowing civs, and you can't really leave when they're cowing civs because the sheep and the cows might fatten.
Yeah, and you have to be on top of that, and it looks like Mitoe could be doing a bit better. Do Vills only auto gather from fully fattened animals? So
yeah, they only auto gather from fully fattened cows and sheep.
Is there a set number of Vills? I mean, you've played a lot of treaties, so once you've got all of your cow cycles going, is there a number of Vills to have on cows and sheep to maintain to basically, like, when one cycle finishes, you'll have new cows arriving in time for the next cycle, or is it just you kind of have to constantly keep retracking it and making sure that there's no too many? You don't have a set number in mind.
Yeah, just constantly keep retracking it before 40, and then after 40, like, just drag box a couple and leave them on cows and sheep, and occasionally come back.
Okay. Do you think there is a number? Or
there probably is a number, but I don't know. I don't know the exact number.
Okay, but someone could figure that out if they wanted to. Or it's not the case that it just varies so much that you couldn't. That it's just so random.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So the ecos are pretty much done, more or less, and now they seem to be upgrading, like, watchtowers and whatever this is. I think this is artillery upgrade from Gunner's Quadrant, from the arsenal.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about positioning a little bit? Because it looks like Treaty obviously want everything really compacted. What are your comments on how could they have done better compacting the buildings, or is their placement more or less okay?
So you want to talk about the building positioning? I think Kaiser's buildings are a little too close, and if he gets pushed into the space, his artillery is going to have pathing issues. Like, you can see that artillery foundry right next to those barracks. Those coves don't have much room to pop out.
That's true. Yeah, that could be awkward.
Probably spread out his buildings a little more.
Do you think 14 minutes remaining is enough to chop down these trees to sort of fix that?
Yeah, it is, but, like, that foundry is still, like, the coves that pop out of that will still be, like, trapped, because, like, there's barracks on the right and left, and then another foundry on top of it. So the only places to go is, like, behind and around that barracks.
He might delete it and replace it. It's only 300 wood. You think, aside from that, though, Kaiser is sort of all right. It looks like, judging from where this first initial wall is going, that sort of marks the upper outline of the radius that he can build in, more or less. So everything inside that, it looks like he's got enough room to place the remaining walls down. Let's take a look at Mitoe. Yeah, we can see there's sort of enough room to place walls in. There's no buildings outlying perhaps a little too close, with the exception of on perhaps the west side, the east side of his base here. He's got that plantation and 2 houses. Yeah. But they can be moved. Sadly, the plantation is quite expensive, but...
Yeah, I almost never delete plantations.
Yeah, but unless you absolutely have to. So would you delete that one?
I wouldn't delete it.
Okay, because it's worth quite a lot in terms of resources. Yeah.
The XP it gives to your opponent is probably...
Oh, that's a good point as well, yeah. You don't want to delete stuff in general because of that. That's something I don't really ever think about when deleting things.
Lucas says the number is roughly 6 on cows and 7 on sheep if you keep counting perfectly. They say you ask for the magic number.
Okay, and that's the magic number.
That's what he thinks. I mean, he could be right. I'm not sure.
This sounds like a rough approximation, more or less. Sounds okay, providing you, like, build new cows, like
Yeah.
build a new cow the moment one dies
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so it looks like military buildings. He's got most of them have got military buildings down now, and all of those relevant upgrades. At what point will they start fleshing out these walls? It looks like there's a second layer going down for Kaiser.
Yeah, I guess. There's not really a right time to build walls.
Okay,
Just like do it whenever you have a spare moment from cowing.
Oh, I see. So just spend your APM wisely, get those walls down. Perhaps a better question is, roughly how many layers thick would you expect the walls to be? Or is that a very stylistic choice depending on what kind of player you are?
They don't have enough room for more than 3 layers. Top game, it would be more like 4 outer layers and then an eco layer.
Yeah. Okay, so does it get to the point where I remember when I played Treaty when I was a scrub back in the day, I would build as many layers of walls as physically possible. We're talking like 6 or 7, however many I could fit. That's not something that happens too often.
Yeah, not unless you like expect your opponent to start with a box or something.
Like an Appreciative box. Is that considered a cheese, generally speaking?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so unlikely to see that in a higher level game, but still possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so generally speaking, then it's all you really need is a few layers of walls, not just an enormous number like I used to build, 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah.
And providing you keep on top of when your opponent sort of moves his units around, and you mentioned in the previous game, Treaty players like to focus on that one position. For those just tuning in, so usually you just fight in one area of the map, and it's been discovered that over having played thousands of Treaty games, that players that seem to move around the map more, providing you can keep on top of where they're moving to, they're just disadvantaging themselves by moving, because they'll have fewer units in that one area where you're mostly fighting, and then start losing or getting pushed back. And the benefit of of flanking or attacking some other location, yes, you can trick them out, and that can be really valuable, but on average is perhaps not as good as just fighting in the same place, is what you said earlier.
Yeah.
I'm mentioning it again because I'm aware that a 30-minute Treaty game is likely. We have new viewers since then. Okay, so you don't actually need a super number, just enough walls to keep them out. I mean, obviously, if you didn't build any walls, they're gonna like take advantage of that. So you just need enough, like 3 layers of walls. It's probably more or less okay.
Yeah. Like I said, like if they had built their bases maybe more efficiently, like they could maybe get next like 4 or 5 walls. Like, I'd probably make 4 walls and 1 eco wall.
Okay. So can you tell us, Mitoe stacked up 4 shipments by the looks of it. What's he waiting for?
He doesn't have any of the infinite native shipments, so I'm not sure. That's pretty bad that he doesn't have those shipments. Those 2 native shipments that let him overpop. The 17 Cherokee and 15 Huron.
Okay, so the way that works is you'd max out your you'd max out your natives, and then you'd send that shipment and they'd arrive on top and be even more population.
Yeah, max out your army and send those shipments for a really strong overpop army.
Okay, well, he's spending his shipments now. It just dropped from 4 to 2 to 1. There it is. So he's probably queuing up some... There was probably no more eco upgrades to get or something, and now these are just military shipments. He doesn't have the infinite... how valuable do you think those natives are then, those infinite native shipments, compared to that infinite wood? Because obviously, I feel like your answer will be the natives are better than the wood. But what you know, it looks like he's actively chosen to include wood instead. What do you think he has in mind?
So what people usually do is have both the natives and the wood, and once you start running low on resources as Eero, send like the wood to like delay the point where you like run out of.
Okay, and that wood is used. That wood is used to keep constructing buildings, but more importantly, to keep training natives.
Yeah, natives and like mantlets and stuff.
Okay, so that wood is valuable for that reason. But normally people would have both, not one or the other.
Yeah.
All right, we have 7 minutes. Kaiser looked like he's settling for 2 layers of wall. I mean, we might see a third go down later on in that game. He's got a forward base here. Not by the looks of it, just one outpost, which I think he built just to get the upgrades. Is that? Do you think he doesn't intend to throw outposts up in his base? He's probably going to focus them closer,
closer
or
to
perhaps
the fight.
next. Yeah. So he just wants that one for now to get the upgrades.
Yeah.
Right,
And
that's what
also as
that's
like a
for.
shipment point for. He has infinite grants in his deck, so I guess that's what he's gonna send.
I see. Okay, so
Yeah.
he's got his eco wall going up now,
Gonna do it
and
for him, actually.
everything is more or less. He's got all the villagers on resources. He's now just piling resources up, and that's what he's doing there. Mito, he's got still a few more layers of wall going down, and his villagers are all set up as well. Town dance just coming in. What's that for? What does town dance do? It's not something.
Just gives your buildings a lot more HP. I mean, it lets you dance for HP, building HP, basically.
Oh, right. And the more villagers that are dancing, the more HP they have.
Yeah, so you can have like 20k HP walls. It's kind of
Holy
cheesy.
shit.
And
So what
most
happens
people
if
don't use it.
you stop dancing? Did the walls die because the HP drops, or does it drop as a percentage of its...
Probably drops as a percentage. It drops as a percentage.
Okay, so you'd have, like...
It's
that.
been
Okay,
there.
that makes sense. So the buildings wouldn't change. It would appear like the HP has stayed the same because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
HP bar would not move. But actually...
Honestly, it's been like
yeah.
6 or 7 years since I played a game with Town Dance.
okay,
Where anyone
so
in my game was using Town Dance. It's been like 6 or 7 years.
you don't think it's a good card, then?
Yeah, I don't. Because while you're dancing on Town Dance, it like could be on Attack Dance. Or like
Okay.
Fertility or something. Or like Pop Dance for Eero.
Stop stream sniping. Oh my god. Brilliant. That's what he... Obviously, he doesn't think that it's a joke. That's funny. Okay, what's he dancing for at the moment, then? Because it's obviously not town dance. Or if it was, that'd be stupid.
Let's see, I'm not sure.
What do you expect it is? You can't actually
The
tell.
Travois, either the Travois or the XP, like one of those. Those are,
Okay,
like,
they're the only two that sort of make sense at the moment. The Travois, how good are the free buildings? Like, what does that roughly equate to in terms of, like, yeah, there's a Travois
Well,
just spawning there.
Lucas calculated it, and it's actually not worth the time dancing unless you're building a plantation with the Travois.
Okay, so that's the only thing you should dance for.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing to... Do you think, like, okay, now I need to put some plantations down? Would it be a good strategy to fill up your fire pit, providing there aren't too many of them?
I would just like have the plantations ready before the treaty ends.
Okay, so he's spawning Travois. Oh, I think he's switched it then. Oh no, I don't know. We'll see. How valuable is the XP dance?
I mean, I usually have like before 40 just one Vil dancing for XP. It's
Just one Vil?
like not worth the.
So
it's
you
not
think there
worth
shouldn't
having
be?
all 25 dancing?
So you think there shouldn't be any Vils on? Well, my game keeps glitching out. There's like hundreds of these unconstructed walls are like creating these crazy lines.
Oh yeah, I've seen that happen sometimes. It's really weird. Yeah,
What
it's
is that?
happening? I have no idea. It happens with like Eero only.
Huh? Maybe it's
Something
like the
like that.
models.
Yeah,
those
the
particular
walls.
models.
Yeah.
I know what it is. It's that you see those pillars on the wall. So basically the wall is there's two. It looks like a tree trunk that's cut out, and there's a spike on the top of it.
Yeah,
I think
it's
what's
really
going
interesting.
on is I think like that part of the model continues down into the ground, and what you're seeing is that spike, that colorful spike, is actually that wooden pillar. So that it's existing below ground in a way. Maybe
Yeah.
that was a sloppy sort of, it wasn't cut off, or maybe it's supposed to be like that for different types of elevation. I'm not going to speculate too much because it doesn't actually matter. Okay, we have a bunch of rams. Is this a standard
Absolutely
a standard
not.
opening?
It's absolutely not a standard opening. This was the strat that Mitoe was telling me about.
Oh, you're not supposed to say that, but go on then. You've done it now.
I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, you're supposed to pretend like you have no idea what's going on. I know he
Okay.
asked you for advice before the game started. That's because you're a good treaty
Yeah,
player.
stop.
And
I
he,
guess it's
but
little
yeah, well,
unprofessional.
it doesn't
you're
really,
right.
it doesn't matter really.
Because
But
Mito
what,
it's just because Mito has never played like treaty,
of
and this
course,
sub thing was like a last minute thing, and Kaiser agreed, and I think Kaiser even agreed like it's okay if I give Mito a little bit of advice before the match starts, like not during the match obviously, but before the match starts.
yeah, sure. Tell us what. Well, clearly his aim here is to batter down the walls, right? Is that what these are for? And then like
Yeah,
spam
to
down some buildings
probably
with the
deny the natives and take down the walls, hopefully kill factories and just
But
get in his base.
so only we can see them, right? Kaiserklein doesn't have spies or anything like that.
Yeah, only we
At-
can see them. And the
at what
interesting
point do
thing is
you-
that Kaiserklein has a Grand Grenadier stud army, and they also have really high siege, so we might see a base trade.
Brilliant. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds like fun. At what point do you get spies, or is that never?
Never.
Okay, so anyone who gets spies, because we used to do this when I was when I used to play Treaty. This was back in the day when I was first getting into the Age of Empires 3. Like I play France, or my friend would play France, and he'd do fur trade, and I'd tribute all of my food just before fur trade got in, and then he would get spies, and then send me a whole bunch of gold back. But spies, generally speak, well, spies is just bad, right? Because you're just
it's just so expensive.
Okay, you're foregoing far too many resources,
Yeah.
which your opponent's is gonna trickle you out eventually. Can you tell me about blockade then? I guess that's probably always valuable.
It's banned from. There's like a mode treaty no blockade, and that's what's usually hosted.
Yeah. Okay. So if you were hosting like treaty with blockade, you would probably
you would send it as soon as possible to block out as many of your opponent's long-term military shipments as possible.
I see. That's interesting. Yeah, and then
it's like it kind of ruins the game though, not being able to send like the
and that's
infantry
why,
training cards and stuff.
of course, and that's why you would. That's why people don't play treaty with blockade, because it's just a load of bullshit.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
I see that. So, okay, so this is is this just max population, max pop siege? The treaty has ended. The fighting may begin. So
yeah, so Mito's marching straight into the natives, I guess. I hope he like takes out Kaiser's native and maybe denies him the upgrades as well as trying to get in the base.
oh, he's seen it though, because that Ville's gonna.
So he knows it's coming.
Oh god, what's he gonna do? Is he sending anything over to deal with it? The hussars.
He's sending the hussars.
Okay. Oh, this is quite exciting actually. The Grenadiers, however, are gonna go for.
But
yeah,
Mito is on the building HP dance, so that's gonna buy him some time while Kaiser tries to siege.
Oh really? That's what it was for.
Yeah, that's what it was for.
Brilliant. 15k building HP. Okay, so what he wants to deny these natives, get them. Hopefully, is that getting in there? Incan chassis messing.
I want to see him, split off the rams. I want to see him split off the rams so that there are like 5 on each natives, and then the rest are taking down these walls. But he's gonna ignore the natives. That's not what he wants to do, in my opinion.
He needs to get them right, because like then he just and build them himself.
Yeah, then he would just overwhelm. Then maybe he would overwhelm Kaiser with a huge overpop, but he split them off. Don't.
Oh, what's going on, Mito?
Oh,
how much HP do Rams have? Do they tank melee?
380. They have 50% range resist actually.
Oh, that's no good against homuncus. The homunculuses. Oh dear. So you feel like you ought to got those trading posts down and built them.
I think he should have split off 10 rams from his main army, sent 5 to each natives, and then sent the rest to the walls.
Yeah, and you'd be denying. He could still do it though.
Yeah, he's doing it right now. Actually, it's a bit late, but he is doing it. And the natives
there would have been fewer natives to deal with.
So the only threat really are these Grens. He's trying to chip
he's
through
roughly
these 15k HP walls.
He's roughly used up half of his time. Generally speaking, because there's only two walls left. Then this explains why Mito built so many walls when we talked about only 3 is enough.
Yeah, this was his plan.
I see. The grenadiers, though, they're going to take lots of damage from these falcons, from these these light cannons.
I don't
One
think
wall left, though. I don't know if it's
three are
enough.
probably not enough. Yeah. It's only
Yeah,
one wall
more
left.
hussars being retrained in base now. I think that last remaining wall is probably going to be fine. It does look like he's managed to keep Kaiser off this Inca settlement and, well, both the Inca settlements.
What I would like to see is Mitoe like build them in himself and actually like spam them out, and he has a lot of vital pop here.
Oh, he needs to get them moving. Okay, the Grens have broken through. Where are they heading now? Because Mitoe can just rebuild these walls, and providing he does that, it looks like Kaiser isn't going to be able to capitalize on that breach in the wall. He needs to have units flooding through. Actually, the siege rams are acting as a good distraction. What's he killing here? Villages?
Yeah, what would really have been useful is if he had like gone straight for the fire pit and maybe tried to take it out, because then he would have to rebuild the fire pit and he wouldn't be dancing for anything.
It looks like they're just going to die. There's not very many Grens left there, and he can train a couple of units to polish them up, trying to capitalize on the breach in the wall. But Mitoe has gotten enough layers up. It looks like Kaiser has managed to stop the walls going up, but not before he could flood the gate. Flood the walls and get through. I think there's been enough distraction by those rams that Kaiser is preoccupied with, trying to deal. It looks like he's got a nice forward base down, lots of tomahawks coming out, and I think this push from Mitoe on this unorthodox push on the side has managed to secure him an extra native trading post. I think Blue is about to get one up, but Mitoe does have control of the area and tons of pop. Yeah, it does deny that going up there. So overall, yes, he did lose those walls there, but it doesn't look like Kaiser managed to capitalize on the breach in the walls. And overall, Mitoe's gained this extra location. He's basically got. He stopped his opponent from having any natives, and he's got twice as many.
Yeah, so this is a really good trade for Mitoe. Like, the 15k HP while slowing down the Grens while he takes out 4 natives. I just hope that he actually like uses them.
Yeah, he needs to make sure he's using them properly. Because let's remember, this wasn't for free though, because he lost a lot of resources. Those siege rams, they did cost something, and they all died without really getting any value. And we have to remember he had 25 villagers on that fire pit as well, which could have been gathering. So that time was lost, so to speak.
Actually, Arrow always have 25 vills on the fire pit during the fight, but it's for like the population dance or the war dance. So
which is different, right?
That's what he's losing out on.
That's creating value. Okay, so my assessment really was losing resources, but it still stands. He's losing value, not resources. But overall, though, to gain two extra trading posts, worth it?
Yeah, because the natives are really strong on this map, and like having 50 Huminka is pretty much unbeatable if you keep a decent army out.
Yeah, did lose this trading post here, but gonna manage to clean up those hussars and is just going to rebuild it. So a temporary loss there. So the fighting is happening on Kaiserklein's base. Where would it normally happen? Right in the middle, near that trading post in the center?
Yeah, either in the middle, in the natives, or like kind of both.
Yeah, okay, I see. You want to fight on those spots. One's got trading posts there.
I hope Mitoe makes light cannons to take out these walls.
Yeah, he's got to put up with Grens targeting these walls again, and they've got back down to 8,700 HP. Do you think he should put the wall dance back on whilst these Grens are here until he can deal with them?
I think he should just like make some forest prowlers or light cannons or something.
Yeah, he probably knows his
friends. These natives are still idle.
Oh god, that's a lot of natives to be idle. It's basically mitigating some or all of the advantage of having those extra trading posts. I'm sure Mitoe needs a select all military hotkey. Is that something you would utilize?
Yeah, and also just occasionally hitting the idle military hotkey to make sure that none of the military units are idle.
Yeah. Okay. Oh god, Mitoe, what is the? That's a shame for him.
He's doing really well on this front.
Let's talk more about that. Horse cannons have arrived, though. Is that a big problem?
That's a really good thing for Kaiser to mix, because Mitoe doesn't have any light cannons out.
Okay, what is the anti-artillery unit for Iroquois?
Light cannons.
Okay, do they have specific multipliers? Are they like culverins?
Yeah, they're like a mix of culverins and falconets, so they're pretty strong.
Yeah, they're a hybrid. We've got
Pretty
two light cannons coming in. What should he do here? Just take the damage. You know, grit his teeth and like, okay, I don't like these horse cannons, but just put up with it.
Yeah, just kind of let the humancus tank it while light cannons kill it.
Okay, he's got 4 light cannons plus those other 2 coming in. Looks like now he's going to be able to deal with these adequately. Let's look back at those grenadiers. They're really uncontested. Should he? I think he should put the wall. He's got the wall dance on.
I think these grens are actually a mistake from Kaiser because Mitoe is almost in his base here. I mean, yeah, Mitoe's almost in his base here.
Yeah, these are taking up 2 population, and there's like a few of them. That population's would be much more valuably spent, right, defending here. And he's not, because he's not. It's like going to be before. He's not going to be able to capitalize on the hole in the wall. It's just going to get rebuilt.
Yeah, I think Kaiser just kind of lost this game.
Well, we'll see.
The natives of the humancas are overwhelming him pretty hard right now.
Yeah, he's still got a few idle, but I think overall he's probably got more. Well, his opponent doesn't have any, so the advantage is still very pronounced.
The only way Kaiser will ever kill this army is if he can like get and maintain an artillery advantage, like always having Coles and Horsart out and just destroying Mitoe's light cannons with it. Like Muscuss will never kill this army, longbows will never kill this army. Artillery is the only way.
Well, he has some artillery coming.
Yeah.
Those are going to be. He's going to be able to get some nice damage on those prowlers there. Some Huss flanking around the side. So they're gonna. If he can get on the back of those cannons and take them out there, then he might be do okay. Here they come.
Yeah. Hopefully, Mitoe might throw humancas to it.
Yeah, there's homuncus there, and these cannons they've got 300 HP. Let's take a look at the Grens. They are being a bit of a pain in the ass, but they've not really done any lasting damage. In fact, I think we've got Petars coming in. Look, streaming in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Petars coming straight into his base. What is he going to take out? What infrastructure do you go for? Is it mills?
Oh, the fire pit, the TC, and then the farms, probably.
Okay. It's not a lot. What's he going to do? Delete stuff so he can retrain in base? Or is it just lost?
I don't know. Like, the walls were open. I guess just... Yeah, delete some stuff and retrain in base, and then try to capitalize on it by like instantly moving up here.
Do you think though? Look, okay, more hussars coming out.
I thought those are gonna die instantly to the humanca mass.
Yeah. Okay, it looked quite exciting when they were coming out, but I don't really know how much damage they're gonna do. Really, like petards are quite expensive. You know, they're 100 wood and 50 food each, and he's just killing a few buildings that ultimately can just be rebuilt. There's nothing. They're not like factories, you know. Once you kill a factory, it's gone forever. But
native civ don't have anything like that. And you're not doing much.
Okay, so overall, it's going to idle the villagers for a bit whilst he rebuilds, and perhaps cause him some distraction away from the army. But all things said and done, Mitoe has this overwhelming death ball, and there are just blue muskets streaming into it, and just getting, you know, like he needs to drop back and build up. Where did all those hussars
He actually can't drop back though, because like that's his eco. If he goes back anymore, he loses like all these houses.
Yeah.
His entire base basically.
Okay, the walls are going back up. The breach has been repaired. Some villagers still idle, but mostly they're all going to get back to work just fine, and it'll be okay. In the meantime, Mitoe can afford to be distracted because he has such a large army there.
Yeah.
A lot sieging the houses. Probably not the best thing given, you know, immigrants is a tech and he's taking damage from muskets. Perhaps he should refocus. I think though he's probably focused.
People usually don't get immigrants because it's like 2,000 like.
Oh really?
You're already building houses, so like you have 100
yeah, that's
pop
fair. You don't really need
during the boom, and then so it's like either 1,000 wood or 2,000 coin.
GG. Gimmicks has resigned. The score is 1-1. A flaky beginning from Mitoe, but. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, very nicely executed, and the only criticism I have are these idle military units. A very nice game from Mitoe there, and I can say that even with my limited knowledge of Tree, quite pleased with how he played out.
Yeah, this was pretty well thought. This is pretty well thought out.